this video I try to explain how I do panorama picture from many vertical. These are now only the JPEGs to explain how I did the shot. So this is in Germany at the Hintersee, and it's a very big mountain on a beautiful lake. And for this shot I use a 16mm, so also a very wide angle Canon lens. But this was not wide enough. So I take my 16mm Canon lens and I make it vertical, and then I shoot from left to right, in this case 7 pictures, so I have all the view I like to have on my camera. And for every single shot I did, I make also an exposure bracketing with 2-stop different. So this I want to show you in the next step. Of course you can use also a fisheye lens if you have a situation like this, but then you have all the distortions. So just let's take a look to the raw files. These are now my raw files. This computer can't show me the thumbnails from the raw files, so I put my JPEGs also here, so you can see what's happening in the raw files here. So as you see here on the first picture, I begin on the left side from the mountain, and then I go and make my pictures and move forward to the right side, like you can see here on the last picture. This was the very right side, and this was the left side where I begin my panorama. As you can see here in this normal exposure, there is no structures anymore in the highlights. So for this I make a bracketing. So I have here the normal picture, a very dark picture, and look at this, suddenly we have colors and structures in the highlights. And then I make a very light picture for the very dark parts of the picture, like here in the trees or in the shadows from the stones. So, and now there is one thing in Photoshop, I think it's now 1 year or 2 years you can use this. You can put all the pictures, all the raw files in the raw converter from Photoshop, and he will do all the work for you. So he will stitch the photos together to a panorama, but also at the same time he will manage the exposure bracketing. So I can put all the 21 pictures I have done in Photoshop. So let's do it. I will hit Command, and then we click on every raw file. So now we have clicked on every raw file. We hit the right button from our mouse and we open with Photoshop. Now Photoshop, now we are in the raw converter from Photoshop, and let's make it a little bigger. And the first picture is activated. The first thumbnail from the picture is activated, and we scroll down to the very last picture. Now we press Shift and activate all the thumbnails, all the pictures. So now we come to the main part of this tutorial. We click here on this little icon, and then we have here 3 options like merge to HDR, merge to panorama, or merge to HDR and panorama. So we click on this one because we have HDR and we want to make a panorama. So we click here and Photoshop will work for us. Now we have some more options here in this window, but normally I use the first spherical, and on boundary warp you can choose how much you want to crop. So I'm looking for my left and the right side, and I I want these trees to frame my picture from left and right, and I think this is okay. I think this is good, and I want to merge. As you can see here, the horizon is a little bit, it's not straight, because I make all the shoots handheld. But if you have a tripod, it would be better. But we can fix this in Photoshop very, very easily later. Now we have a very big picture with all the structure we needed in the sky and the shadows everywhere. So we can do now whatever we need with this picture. For example, I will go down with the highlights now. Okay, we can't see the sky there, but we go down with the exposure. And we go so much down until we have structures in every little thing on the highlight. But now it's getting very dark, and we go up with the shadows, maybe to 100. And then we take a look at the exposure, and we have to take care for the sky. But I think something like this is okay for our next steps then later in Photoshop. So now we are in Photoshop, and we have a really huge file with all the informations in every part, on the highlights, on the shadows. And that's what I want to show, that Photoshop can manage the bracketing and the panorama at the same time. I love this tool. Hope you like it. See you later. Bye bye.